Let me tell you something that hardly anyone talks about, but almost every man experiences. The moment your value drops in his eyes, it's nearly impossible to bring it back. And the unsettling part is that most women don't even realize it's happening until it's already too late. The thing is, value isn't based on your looks, your career, or how much you do for him. It's about the vibe you carry into the relationship, how you hold your own space, how you respond rather than chase. It's the subtle, unshakable confidence that quietly says, I choose you, but I don't need you to define me. And when that energy slips even slightly, he senses it immediately, even if he can't explain it. Instinctively, something inside him shifts. He starts to step back, and you begin questioning your own worth. A connection that felt full of possibility suddenly turns into another emotional storm you didn't sign up for. That's why this video is going to uncover 4 quiet behaviors that slowly diminish your value in the eyes of a man, even when your heart is in the right place. High value isn't a game. It's not about tricking anyone. It's not manipulation. It's a mindset, a way of being. Once you see what quietly drains your power, you can stop minimizing yourself for someone else's comfort and start fully stepping into your worth. But this isn't about playing hard to get, it's about becoming unforgettable. If you're done being misunderstood, overlooked, or always the one putting in more effort, stay close. These next 30 minutes could completely shift how you show up in love, maybe even for good. A lot of women grow up believing that attraction comes down to looks, charm, or saying the right words at the right moment. But real attraction goes way deeper than that. Male desire is rooted in how he interprets a woman's value, not just visually, but emotionally, energetically, and psychologically. Here's what many overlook. Men are pulled toward women who stir something powerful in them while also making them feel safe. That doesn't mean you have to become his counselor, his caretaker, or a constant emotional cushion. It means becoming a reflection of the version of himself he feels proud to be around, a man who is grounded, confident, protective, and inspired. And only a woman who truly knows her own identity can naturally bring that out in him. Masculine energy is driven to pursue, to earn, to conquer, but not just anything. It craves something that feels rare, just slightly out of reach, something that invites him to rise, not through conflict, but through inspiration. That's why when a woman leads with emotional neediness instead of self-assurance, no matter how attractive, accomplished, or sweet she is, something just turns off. Because once a man feels like your attention requires no effort, a part of his core wiring shuts down. Not because he's heartless or unkind, but because desire is maintained through effort, mystery, and emotional balance. True magnetism is found in contrast. Masculine energy is outward and active. Feminine energy is still, inward, magnetic. When a woman fully embraces her feminine energy, her calm, her grace, her mystery, it awakens something in a man that reason alone can't describe. He just feels drawn to her. It's not something he has to think about. He just wants to be near her. That pull creates long-lasting attraction, not just physical interest, but emotional curiosity and connection. But this is where a lot of women slip up. They either try too hard to earn his affection by proving their value, or they lean too far into detachment and games to seem like a challenge. Neither of those works. One makes you invisible, the other makes you unapproachable. Real attraction doesn't come from pretending not to care. It comes from calming your own nervous system and letting go of the need to be constantly validated. When you trust yourself deeply, others start to trust your value too, not because you said so, but because they can feel it. Men don't fall for the one who gives them a checklist of why they're great. They fall for the one whose presence makes them feel grounded, energized, and emotionally understood. That feeling is what keeps him coming back, thinking about you, and investing more over time. Of course, not every man is ready for a woman like that. Some are stuck in cycles of drama or control. That's not your job to fix. Your only role is to be so steady in your self-worth that you naturally attract someone who is aligned, someone who rises with you instead of playing games. So let's get into one of the biggest and most silent ways women sabotage connection early on: overgiving too quickly. It usually starts innocently. You like him, you feel a spark, you want to show you care, so you start doing things you think are thoughtful or kind, maybe small gifts, constantly checking in, going out of your way to help, adjusting your schedule for him, or emotionally investing before he's even proven his intention. You believe you're just being loving, but here's the truth, you're offering up your energy before he's earned it, and that shifts everything. Suddenly you're in the masculine position, the one doing, proving, pursuing, while he sits back in the receiving role without needing to work for it, and attraction dies there. It's not because giving is wrong, it's because unbalanced giving removes the need for him to earn your presence, and men value what they work for. When you overgive too early, what you're really saying is, here I am, all in, and I don't even need to see what you're about first. That sends a message that your time, attention, and emotional care are too easily available. And once that switch flips, he doesn't feel motivated to pursue you anymore. The challenge is gone. The polarity is lost. What could have been a mutual connection flattens into something that feels uneven and emotionally heavy. Even if your giving is pure, it can come across as over-invested, even desperate. It tells him your love is something he can have without effort, and that kills desire. Many women overgive because they fear not doing enough will push him away. But that fear is exactly what drives the disconnection. Men don't fall in love with who gives the most. They fall for the one whose presence feels meaningful and earned. A woman who gives from a place of fullness, not fear. One who knows her worth so well that her affection feels like a gift, not a given. If he's not matching your energy, if he's not showing up with consistency and intention, then all your giving feels one-sided. It sets a tone where you're the emotional anchor while he's just floating through. That's not a relationship, that's self-neglect in disguise. People treat you based on how you show up. If you teach someone early on that your needs come last and you'll do everything to win them over, that pattern sticks. What you want instead is to remain open but steady. Observe his effort, notice his follow-through, receive before you give too much, give slowly, give in response to real action, not potential. The woman who doesn't rush to give everything, she's not cold, she's not playing games, she's grounded. She knows that genuine love is something that grows, not something that's forced. And that's what keeps your value clear and his respect growing. Now let's talk about something that drains your value without you even realizing it, the need for constant reassurance. It shows up in small questions like, do you still like me? Are you mad at me? Why didn't you reply right away? Are we okay? Are you sure you're still into me? On the surface, those seem like normal check-ins, but underneath, there's often a deeper insecurity, a need to feel chosen, to feel safe, to feel good enough. And when that need starts directing your behavior, it shifts the entire vibe between you. The more you need to hear it, the more it signals that you don't believe it. And that makes him doubt it too. The high value energy that once felt magnetic begins to fade. Why? Because constantly needing reassurance shows emotional instability. And that energy creates tension, not attraction. And that's not something that draws men in for the long run. Men who are serious look for women who are steady within themselves, who know how to handle their own emotions, and who don't constantly rely on others to feel okay. When a woman often looks for reassurance, what she's really saying is, I don't feel secure on my own. I need you to calm my nerves. I need you to always remind me that I'm lovable and enough. And for most men, that feels like a lot. Not because they don't care, but because it feels like pressure. It turns them into more of a caretaker than a partner, and that slowly kills the spark. Even worse, it sets up a pattern where the relationship becomes centered around your worries instead of your actual bond. Every interaction turns into trying to soothe your doubts rather than simply enjoying being together. And no matter how often you get reassurance, it doesn't truly fix things because the emptiness isn't outside of you, it's coming from within. What's really going on is that most of this is happening beneath the surface. Maybe in the past you were left without explanation, betrayed or felt invisible. Maybe you were with someone emotionally distant and now you associate quietness with rejection. Maybe people told you you were too sensitive or too emotional, so now you question every shift in someone's tone. But if you don't take time to heal those wounds, you'll carry them into every new relationship, unknowingly driving away the connection you deeply want. Here's what shifts everything. Women who know their value don't constantly chase reassurance. They embody certainty. They don't keep asking where things stand because they already feel secure in their own worth. When something doesn't feel right, they don't fall apart or act out for attention. Instead, they observe, take a breath, and allow space. They let a man show up without trying to control or emotionally manage him. And yes, you can absolutely ask questions or express concerns when needed, but there's a difference between calmly checking in and spiraling from fear. One shows strength, the other shows insecurity. If you notice yourself constantly needing someone to calm your fears, take a pause and ask yourself, what's really making me feel this way? Can I support myself through this moment without needing someone else to fix it? Because once you're able to comfort yourself, you stop handing over your strength. You stop letting worry guide your choices. And that's when men start to feel genuinely attractive, not because they have to be there, but because they admire who you are. In the end, this isn't about being cold or closed off. It's about being emotionally strong. And that kind of strength, it's magnetic. It doesn't waver. It stays with someone long after the conversation ends. This next part is going to feel personal for a lot of women because it's a common pattern. It starts off looking like love, but over time it turns into you losing pieces of yourself. When you make a man the center of your entire world, you slowly give up what made you shine in the first place, your unique energy, your interests, your independence. It often begins innocently. You meet someone new, you feel that spark, and suddenly you're excited, hopeful, and eager to spend more time with him. That's natural. It's normal to want to connect and share your life with someone. But here's where it can shift into something unhealthy. When you start building your life around him, waiting for his texts, dropping plans with others, letting go of your own goals just to be available for him, you begin losing the parts of yourself that made you attractive to him in the first place. Because strong, healthy men aren't looking for someone to lose herself in them. They're pulled toward women who stay grounded in their own lives, who have things going on, things they're passionate about, things that make them happy, no matter who's around. When you cancel on friends, stop chasing your own dreams, or constantly shift your day based on his schedule, what you're silently telling him is, you're more important than me. And even if you don't say it directly, he feels it. It doesn't bring him closer. In fact, it often does the opposite, because the woman he was drawn to, she had her own vibrant world. Now, she's sitting by the phone, adjusting, waiting, reacting. And that's not love. It's emotional dependence. The truth is, the most magnetic women are the ones who see a relationship as a beautiful addition, not a solution. They don't give up who they are when someone new comes into their life. If anything, they bloom even more. They keep their routines, they nurture their friendships, they chase what lights them up, they guard their peace. That kind of presence is unforgettable. These women don't make a man feel pressured. They make him feel lucky. When he sees that your joy doesn't rely on his actions, when he knows you aren't sitting by the phone hoping he'll call, he doesn't feel burdened. He feels grateful to be in your life. But the moment your emotions swing depending on his attention, you lose your place as the one who chooses and instead become the one chasing. And that shift, it changes everything. So here's the new way. Be the lead in your own life story. Let him join you, but never let him become the whole plot. Because the woman who knows she's already whole, she pulls in the kind of man who respects her, values her, and wants to build alongside her, not above her. This next mistake is one of the most damaging. It chips away at your confidence, your sense of who you are, and your emotional well-being. It's ignoring your standards and letting your boundaries slide. In the beginning, it feels small. You let one thing go, you think it's not worth the argument, or I don't want to seem needy, So you stay quiet, you accept something that didn't sit well, you shift a little just to keep the peace. But here's the cost. Each time you go against your own gut, each time you say it's fine when it's really not, you're sending a signal, not just to him but to yourself. That message says, my needs can be put on hold, my wants can be negotiated, and as long as he stays, I'll keep adjusting. And that slowly breaks you down. Men notice, even if they don't say it. They can feel when your standards are flexible. And while some men may enjoy the ease of a woman who never pushes back, they rarely respect her deeply, because deep down, people admire those who have a clear sense of self, who know what's okay and what's not. Boundaries aren't about being harsh, they're about protecting what matters to you. They are self-respect in action. And when you keep ignoring those boundaries just to avoid being alone or to keep someone around, you start living out of fear, not love. It leads to anxiety, second-guessing, and this quiet voice inside asking, am I asking for too much? When really, you're not asking for nearly enough. Many women are scared to set boundaries because they're afraid it will push someone away. But here's the truth. If someone leaves because you set a boundary, they were never meant to stay. Good men don't walk away from standards. They step up to meet them. And the ones who don't, let them go. Because if you build a relationship by always silencing your own needs, you'll only end up with resentment and regret. The women who stand out, the ones who truly attract quality love, are the ones who don't yell, don't beg, don't keep explaining themselves. They state calmly what they're available for and what they're not. And if someone can't meet them there, they walk away, not with drama, but with dignity. When you have strong standards, you send out a clear signal. I'm not open to anything less than I deserve. And that doesn't scare good men away. It filters out the ones who don't belong. It keeps your life clear of confusion and your heart safe from people who were never capable of loving you the way you need. And the best part, when the right man does show up, you won't feel like you have to fight for his effort, question your worth, or settle for scraps. Because your boundaries will no longer be barriers, they'll be gates, and he'll be glad to walk through them. So stop ignoring that gut feeling telling you something's off. Stop lowering your standards just to keep the potential of someone who's not even fully showing up. Because when you stand firm in your truth, you stop attracting men who test you and start attracting men who truly value you. If you're still reading this, take a deep breath. This moment right now, this is where things can shift. This is where you stop giving your power away and start taking it back. Because let's be honest, most of us were never really shown how to value ourselves in love. We were told to be nice, to be pleasing, to hope we'd be chosen. We grew up thinking love had to be earned by trying harder, being better, giving more. But real love doesn't ask you to shrink. It doesn't want you to lose yourself. Real love asks you to show up fully, flaws and all, with your heart open, your standards clear, and your mind wise. Taking your power back doesn't mean playing games. It means knowing who you are and refusing to apologize for it. It's knowing your value isn't tied to how a man acts. It's solid, it's steady, and it begins with how you treat yourself. You don't need to overextend yourself to be loved. You don't need to chase or fix or wait for someone to see your worth. You don't need to bend your life to fit into his, and you absolutely do not need to lower your standards to avoid being alone. You are allowed to take up space, to say no, to walk away from anything that costs you your peace. That's not too much. It's knowing your worth. The moment you stop breaking your own heart to keep someone else, you become magnetic, not because you're perfect, but because you're real. And that's what draws in the kind of relationship you've been craving. One that matches your growth, respects your voice, and doesn't ask you to earn love. It just gives it freely. And if no one's told you lately, you are more than enough. Your love is not something to be bargained for, it's a gift. So let this be your reminder. You're allowed to rise, to shift, to want more, to be more, not out of anger, but from quiet confidence. You don't need to become someone else to be loved. You just need to stop shrinking to be accepted. If you're ready to choose yourself fully, say it out loud. Type it. Feel it. I'm choosing me because this is your turning point. And the world needs more women who know their value and won't settle for anything less.